Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast, where we discuss all things empowering, encouraging and inspiring. My name is Yvonne Ellis. I'm an empowerment speaker, author, coach, trainer and founder of Yumi Empowerment, a company that facilitates the empowerment of people. I help people to make positive life change, live in their purpose and develop into their best version of self. I share stories, interviews, spiritual encouragement and actionable tips to empower, encourage and inspire you to live the life you want. So if you want to live the empowered life, join me each week on my podcast so we can take the journey together. Hello Empowered Lifers, welcome to episode 33 of Living the Empowered Life podcast. Hope that you are all doing well. Happy February to you. We made it through January 2022. Woo! I know it's been a tough month for so many of us, just getting into the rhythm of a new year. But I pray that this month your plans will be productive and fruitful. How are your plans going so far? I would love to hear from you. Let me know, on social media. I have a Instagram account called Yumi Empowerment, YEME_empowerment. Let me know over there how your new year is going. I'd love to hear from you. My plans seem to be going in the right direction, I think. Remember I told you guys I had a big announcement. I think I mentioned it on the Wrap Up 2021 episode. Well, I can let you know now because I've started it. And basically my good news is that I am doing a master's degree in innovation management and entrepreneurship. Now, I found out that I got accepted last August, a day before my 45th birthday, and I knew it was meant to be then. I've started this degree now. I'm really excited about doing it, but I must say the last couple of weeks has been really challenging. Even though I've studied before, even though I've done courses and other educational stuff before, it's nothing like the things that I'm doing now. Academia is really, really hard. Even as a writer, someone who's consistently wrote many different things over the years, having to learn a whole new different way to write for academic writing is proving really challenging. But nevertheless, it's a challenge that I am relishing. I'm taking things one step at a time. And I recently recorded a video about why I decided to do a master's at 45 years old. I'm just in the process of editing that video and I will put it up on my YouTube channel, Living the Empowered Life. And I will let you guys know when it is up there because I usually do little posts on my social media like Twitter and Instagram to let people know when I upload things. So I will let you guys know if you want to check out that video. Maybe you need some encouragement to do the things you want to do and you're later on in life and maybe wondering if you can do it. This video really is just an encouragement, to help those of you who want to do new or different things at a different stage in life that, you can do it and you just have to take a step to try. So I hope you guys got to check out my last episode 32, called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. In that episode, I was talking about diverting from the course of regrets by learning from the experiences of others. And the episode was based on the experiences of Bronnie Ware, a nurse who looked after people in their last 12 weeks of life. What was so super cool about this episode was that when I did the post notification and put it on my Instagram page, Bronnie Ware herself commented and thanked me for highlighting her blog. I was so chuffed. I've never had anything really happen like that before, especially since doing the course of my podcast, so that was really, really nice. And what I didn't realise actually that her book about the same topic has sold over 1 million copies. Obviously, it's a topic that, many people were really interested in. But, as I mentioned, she wrote about something that all of us would have to face one day in our life. So do check out that episode if you can. I will leave a link to it in the show notes. Also, I want to just quickly touch upon talking about the pep talk that I had mentioned in the last 2 episodes. Basically, a pep talk is just basically a talk to encourage those of you who have a focus for the things you want to achieve in 2022 to keep pressing on. Because as I mentioned, January, everybody is amped up. focused on their goals, full of energy, enthusiasm, motivation. But after the first 30 days, that's when the reality of doing things can kick in. And many people start straying from the course of the things that they want to do. But I am going to do this talk, and it's going to be a free talk for an hour, and I will let you know on my social media platforms when that talk is. But it's probably going to be in March now, just because some things have come up in February that I have to focus on, like, as I mentioned, doing this degree. I'm having to rejuggle around all my time because I still have to work, I still have to look after my family and run my charity and so many different things. So I'm still trying to get my head around timings of stuff and doing different things. So that is why the talk will be in March. But as I said, I will let you guys know. So before I get into the episode, I just want to welcome all of you who are listening in again. Thank you for your continued support. I love you guys. And also, if you're new listening into this podcast, welcome. I hope that you find this podcast empowering, encouraging and inspiring, because this podcast is all about looking at things that hinder us from living the empowered life, and also looking at solutions and different things that can help us to live the empowered life. So in today's episode, I want to talk to you about mind traps. Some of you may never have heard of mind traps, but I want to share with you what I believe mind traps are. Mind traps are those things that lull you into a place of false security that cause you to stop or relax your focus before you reach your goals or achieve your objectives because it is going well. Now, I can give you a recent example of a mind trap that I fell into. My weight story. So basically, I've recently lost 9 pounds since Christmas. I had 4 pounds to go to my initial weight target. But what happened is that I lost focus. I took my eyes off the prize. And before I knew it, I'd put back on 2 pounds. I have really good habits in general. I consistently practice OMAD and TMAD. Some of you may be wondering, what is this? Basically, OMAD is 1 meal a day where I have one huge meal. And also TMAD is 2 meals a day where you might have, for instance, a smaller meal or 2 smaller meals without snacks. Also as well, I do intermittent fasting that I've been doing consistently for 2 years. I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. But the mind trap that I fell back into was that snacking on the wrong things was okay. Yes, maybe once it's okay to snack on the wrong things, but then to do it every day, obviously it makes no sense. Having these habits alongside my healthy eating lifestyle is not going to work. And the worst thing about falling back into that mind trap when I was doing so well is that I don't even desire to eat like that anymore. So, I don't deprive myself of snacks, but I have a particular day where I have snacks. As I always go for my cake and coffee mornings on a Friday, and that basically is my cheat day where I might have things that I don't usually have in the week. I have a space for that. So, because I've allocated a space for that, I shouldn't be falling back into these mind traps. But as I know, sometimes mind traps are born out of just bad habits. So I want to share with you some signs that you are being lulled into a mind trap. One of the things is that you move your goal before you reach your set goal. Another thing is that you're consistent in doing something, then you take a day off. Okay, that's fine to take a day off, but then you take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days off, and before you know it, you've fallen off track. And mind traps are induced by many different things and show up to sabotage in things like lack of patience, lack of focus, distractions, not keeping the bigger picture in your mind. Also, mind traps show up in things like your known comfort. The comfort of where you've been used to can sabotage the place you're trying to get to. So one of the things I've recognized about mind traps is that in not regulating your emotions, not being self-aware will lead you to do things you don't necessarily want to do. In dealing with mind traps, you have to be self-aware. You have to have an awareness of what your triggers are. You have to have an awareness of the things that will lull you into a false place of security. So I want to share with you some things to help you deal with mind traps. One of the things is being aware of your weaknesses, the blind spots. What are your weaknesses? What are the areas that cause you to fall at times? Having that self-awareness about it is one of the things that will help you to deal with mind traps. Another thing that will help you is to have a plan to deal with it. So if you recognize that a mind trap is presenting itself, what things can you put in place to deal with it? Or if you fall off track because of a mind trap, what things do you have in place to help you focus back on your objectives and goals? Another thing that will help you to deal with mind traps is to remind yourself of why you should stay on track. The rewards, the achievements, think about those things. Also, as well, holding yourself accountable in the good and the bad. When you recognize a mind trap, when you fall into a mind trap, recognizing what the implications are for you and your life, and also recognizing the things that you can do differently. And the last thing I want to share with you is mindfulness. Having that self-awareness about your triggers, having that self-awareness about your weak areas, the areas that cause you to fall off track, writing them down, making a note of them so you have it somewhere where you can reflect back on it, that you can go back and say, actually, this is an area that causes me to fall off track. Doing these type of habits, writing it down, is helping you to develop mindfulness. One of the things that really helped me to develop mindfulness and self-awareness about the way I thought about things and what triggered different feelings was cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, I did this probably about 10 years ago. CBT, I think, is one of those things that is a really helpful tool to help you to develop mindfulness, help you to, think about where your thoughts and feelings are coming from with certain things. You can actually get books online on places like Amazon about CBT, because that is the thing about mind traps. Mind traps will show up in your mind first, and because you've not processed it or thought about it, it then shows up in your feelings and your actions. And a lot of the time, many people don't notice the thoughts that they're thinking or notice how their thoughts will lead them to make certain decisions. So as I mentioned, CBT is really good, but just developing a mindfulness, developing a self-awareness about your thoughts, about your triggers, about the things that cause you to do what you do is a really good thing to develop. So I want to share with you quickly a Bible scripture, and this week it comes from Romans chapter 12 verse 2, and it's from the New King James Version, and it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God." When you have a relationship with God through Christ his Son, he will give you the Holy Spirit to help you with your mind traps. But it's not a magic wand, because it still involves you doing the work. But the thing that God can give you is strength. The thing that God can give you is insight when you're in a relationship with him, and he will guide you through that process. Obviously, it still relies on you making certain choices and doing the work, but God can help you with that. To renew your mind basically is to refresh your mind with information such as the Word of God, which is his Bible, and information in the areas that you want to overcome. Getting those success tips of those who've overcome similar mind traps so that you can transform what your mind has been used to thinking. You have to divert your mind to things that will lead your mind away from it. You have to be aware of your thoughts, as I said. Recognize when those mind traps might be present. And when you recognize their presence, use one of the things that you have as a backup plan by putting it in motion. It does take a while to get used to developing things to help you get away from your mind traps. But the important thing is that you don't give up. And you realize actually that it is a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to be able to undo mind traps overnight. You might need help to identify those mind traps, as I said, by going to CBT or attending therapy or different things. It's a process, but the important thing is you don't give up, that you have that awareness and you just continue on. So as usual, when I do the post notification on Instagram and Twitter, my Instagram and Twitter is by the name of Yimi Empowerment. So you can find me over there because I share inspiring, encouraging and empowering things on those platforms. But I usually do the post notification, and when I do a post notification, I ask a question to you. You can let me know in the comments an answer to this question, or you can email me, any which way you want to. I will leave all details in the show notes below. But the takeaway is that I want you to identify a mind trap, something that lulls you into a place of false security before you reach your goal. What is that thing? And I want you to write it down, and also write down one thing you can do as an option to deal with it. So if you fall off track because of the mind trap, or you identify it, what is the one thing you have in place to deal with it? So that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening in. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you found this episode to be helpful to you in some way, shape or form. As I finish this episode, I just want to let you know, if you are struggling in certain areas and finding certain things a challenge, I am a professional certified empowerment coach. I can support you in your journey of what it is that you're finding challenging, or helping you to develop and define your goals, and helping you look at, the root of the things that may be keeping you stuck. It's not counselling, but people who do engage in counselling find that in hiring or getting help from a life coach, empowerment coach, is the next step for them as they try and get on and do the things that they want to do. I will also leave links to my book, Into the Unknown. If you want to see what a journey of courage looks like, get my book. I show you in live action how I went into the unknown in different situations and how I successfully came through them. Also, the Courage Course helps you to develop an action plan to help you live an empowered life by being able to put in place plans to help you go after your goals and dreams. And this course helps you to know what courage entails, how to develop it, and how to move forward in courageous action. So as I mentioned, all links will be in the show notes below. Thank you for listening into this episode, and I shall see you on the next one. Take care.